There, every MMO pretty much has a hardcore, so I think it's a very good. Mystic Dragon, Little Mama, how are you? I hope everybody's doing well, having a good week. There was some good stuff in that producer letter, though. It wasn't just like, from my perspective, the snub for hardcore was bad, right? But they did reveal that they decided to do Myth Draenor. That's great. I'm really excited about that. That Forgotten Realms content needs to be revisited and refreshed, and the fact that they're going to go back there means that they may redo some of our older iconics like Sun Elf and uh, Purple Dragon Knight, like all that stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, like, so when I say that dynamic event, the Illithid event sucked, like, I like the challenge dungeons. I liked how difficult they were, but what I mean really specifically is they called it an invasion, and yet the invaders were hidden in the most obscure dungeons in the middle of nowhere. Like, you had to go in on Reaper. Like, I didn't see an Illithid the entire event. Now, granted, I stopped looking once I figured out what was going on, like with the treasure hunt aspect of it, but it was an Illithid invasion, dude. I expected to see, like, people's brains getting eaten in the marketplace, like Bedlam, people running around screaming with their hair on fire. Like, I wanted to fight, like, all over the city, like an invasion, like a legit invasion. So, from my perspective, it was just really boring because if you logged in and didn't look at the red sky, and like look and see like up there the tiny little nautiloid, you wouldn't even know that there was an event going on. So it was like, that was just such a massive disappointment considering all the things they could have done. So yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining about it. I like the 4 dungeons. It's just when you tell me that you're going to move forward with dynamic events and replace a hardcore event, which is, it has to be a moneymaker for them, right? Like, they get thousands of people logging into hardcore. It's so busy, and everyone's using tomes and TRing and buying potions and all sorts of stuff. I know they must make a lot. Just all the rerolls on loot. So I can't imagine that they think that they're going to make an equal amount financially, just from a business perspective, from a dynamic event on a live server where people are already established. Like, I have everything on a live server. I'm a triple completionist. I don't really need anything. What more do I need over there? There isn't. I'll do the event, sure. I'll participate. I'll make content. I'll farm content for my YouTube channel and Twitch stream. But I don't know. I don't. I don't. It's not like I need to do anything on Sarlona. I've already done everything. So, from my perspective, I hope that they amend their list and give us at least a redux of season 4. Right? Like, at least. Yeah, right. So, Little Mama, if you saw the demon, the devil invasion from way back, yeah, that was crazy. It's totally different. I made a video about how bad the Illithid invasion was, and I stand by my assessment. I wanted to like it too, so. But I do think those dungeons are fun, and I still do them. And they added a big W by making the cards available at the end of sagas, as far as I'm concerned. That made that whole sort of mechanic good. Yeah, well, That is perfect. Like a 50th anniversary dragon themed hardcore season for the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons Online in the year of the dragon. I think that's an amazing idea. And I can't believe that they didn't say that, especially since we're getting a bunch of dragon themed rewards. And, you know, they're going to have like a monthly login reward for us all through this year. We have the 18th anniversary event coming up. They're redoing, like they're going to re-release our VIP rewards with whatever the new thing is going to be. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff that's going to come this year. I just hope that they, you know, don't completely snub hardcore. Even if I didn't run a guild over here, I would still want to be able to log in and play. And I was saying this to somebody else earlier. A lot of the MMOs now, like WoW is a great example. Their hardcore servers are extremely popular. Like, you know, hardcore is just a really popular concept. A lot of games do it. So it's really good, I think, for DDO to sort of have it. And I know they do it over in Lotro as well. I don't know exactly what they call it over there, but I believe they have a hardcore server. I think it's the they have a name for it. I'm not gonna remember, but I know people really like that over there. So love the idea of a dragon themed hardcore though. Definitely good idea. I'm excited to learn what this dragon themed archetype is too, right? That's cool. Like, I can't imagine what they're going to do. I wonder what class it will be.
From high atop these Kopru ruins, you can get a good sense.
All right, I'm not seeing this. Oh, there it is. I didn't have to jump up here.
In a single day due to a war or rebellion, or did it slowly fall?
I hope the dragon themed archetype. Yeah, maybe. I hope it gives us the ability to have dragon wings, like from Draconic Incarnation. I think that would be really cool. All right, so this is a really shitty fight. So summon help. You can do an attack that makes me nauseous, and then you're kind of hoping for a Dragon Knight or Ascendant Dragon Monk. Yeah, that would be cool. You might be onto something there, actually. Yeah, I maybe that, because we do need a monk archetype. I'm really hoping the Myth Draenor update allows them to refresh some of the content. Like, they need to do a pass on Sun Elf and Purple Dragon Knight. They need to bring them up to speed with the present beta. Need to update some of that old Forgotten Realms loot. So that was the reason I voted for Myth Draenor, because it would make sense, since they're making new Forgotten Realms content, that they could technically, if they took the time, update some of that older stuff, because there's a lot of really good quests out there. And it's just the gear is so old now that, you know, it's sort of not useful. I mean, some of it's okay, but all this new stuff is way better. Hard to beat, like the Feywild gear set and the Salt Marsh. Isle of Dread is really good too. Would be nice for them to add artifacts out there as well, and maybe some unique new augments and filigrees and stuff like that. That would be really cool. There's a lot of those like commendations, like the wizards and the purple dragon knights and stuff. I don't ever use them. I just have collected them because there's nothing that I can get that I would actually use. I don't know everything about all that stuff, so for all I know, maybe there's something out there that's great to have, but nowadays, really, I mean, if you just get like Feywild gear, they're pretty good. I looked at all the new Vecna gear and I wasn't that, you know, I'm like, well, maybe there's something from that new Vecna content that I would want to loot. And I only saw one pair of goggles that I thought was kind of cool, and the rest of it was just kind of like, meh. Like, okay, I think I still like the Feywild better. I like the Salt Marsh better. Like, the set bonus seems very similar. I don't know. Got 3 black pearls. I still need like 25 if I'm gonna make a weapon. The best effect that I could get for myself is the effect that locks everything in ice on a spell cast, so. Yeah, right, I agree. It's very hard to compete with Feywild and Isle of Dread. Yeah, like I love my caster stick from the Isle of Dread. And on live I use the autumn set, but on hardcore I'm using the winter. So I'm using a 5-piece salt marsh and then winter for the extra hit points. 4-piece winter. And I would like to get a dragon stick, but right now I'm just using a queen scepter on my Reaper tune. Like I was saying earlier, like I have almost 900,000 Reaper XP. Like at this point, I don't need to quest anymore. Like I'm pretty much done. I've just been doing it for fun. So I think I pretty much guaranteed a spot on the leaderboard somewhere. I don't know actually where I'll wind up, but top 50, I guess, would be okay. I'm not on the heroic board at all, though, but I don't really care. I don't. I have a lot of respect for the people who do the favor questing, though, because I know some of the quests are really difficult. Some of the raids were not made with like hardcore in mind, so it's really impressive that they're able to do it and live. I think this season, right now, there are people sitting at around 7,200 favor. It's amazing. They're so good at this game. I don't think I've ever done 7,000 favor even on live. Usually I TR. And I don't usually keep the tunes sitting around that long. I usually reincarnate. I guess at some point, once I finished getting triple completionist, which I'm very close. Like I said, I only need 1 or 2 racial lives to actually finish it. Then I should probably like try to cap out my favor, but I'm not in a rush. That I hope they give us something like legendary pit. That would be cool. Or legendary waterworks. Would be nice. Legendary tangle route. But since it's the year of the dragon, it'll be nice if that new raid that they give us involves a dragon. So I'm out here looking for an artifact ring. And I'm having like the worst luck ever.
A flock of griffins have made the shipwreck into their eyrie.
Okay, the chest is up. We can see it, right? So just have to kill these 2 griffins. Probably expecting way too much to find. See, this is like the 3rd belt. Why can't I find a ring? So frustrating. Yeah, I also vote that they get rid of bound to character altogether because I have an artifact ring on my other character that I could just trade to this character if it wasn't bound to character. But I know they sell the wishes of inheritance and make money on it, so they won't actually. But it would be nice if they did it. We're getting level cap 34. And this quarter, very soon, they're doing an epic destiny. How did they word it? They called it a balancing of the epic destinies, which anybody who knows anything about what when they say balancing, I hear nerf. Yeah, balance patch. Yeah. So it means that what? Maybe we'll get a new epic destiny, although they didn't say it. But yeah, they're gonna nerf. Oh, the draconic. So do you mean like the tier, the top tier that adds the damage to the Yeah, they're definitely nerfing. So I know when you do ruin, the draconic has that thing that adds extra damage to ruin, so you can get like multiple hundreds of thousands of damage under the right circumstance and if a crit. I wouldn't be surprised if they nerf that, especially if people are doing it on Archmage in that window that Archmage sets up. That DPS window that I forget what that skill's called, but and I wouldn't be surprised if they, do Carrion Swarm, ruin it or something, because it really is like the best epic strike, like 100 times better than every other epic strike. So it's either they balance to make all the other strikes like it, or they ruin it, make it single target or something. Dragon Breath, yeah, I mean, that's Dragon Breath, cutting the dice in half because it makes no sense. Oh, different dice scaling than the rest. I understand what you're saying, yeah. Bringing it down to 1d6 like they did with the macro technic. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, I don't play in Draconic a lot because my build uses, you know, I do the same build on Charlona, right? So I'm Primal Avatar, Shadow Dancer, Unyielding Sentinel. It's like I get a lot of survivability. And then most of my DPS is here. My Epic Strike is Carrion Swarm. My Mantle is right here. I don't even bother with a epic moment because it's just lame. So, but I know if I did ruin, Greater Ruin, I would do Draconic and probably do Dragon Breath. So yeah, makes sense. Still, I'm not a fan of nerfs, so I would rather them, like balance it but not completely kill it. You know what I mean? I think they did. Yeah, actually. I think they did change that a bit ago. I know when they did the new Epic Destiny system, they broke what was just one ability, right? You take Dragon Breath, they broke it into multiple buys. So, like, you used to be able to get Dragon Breath and Energy Burst, but now you have to pick one or the other. So, I mean, I would call that a pretty big nerf because you used to be able to get both of them, and now you can only get one of them. But still, Energy Burst is still really good. Do it. Dragon Breath is still really good. So. The other thing too, because it's an Epic Strike now, it's up every like what 10 or 15 seconds. So it probably is in a position where it could have its damage dice reduced a little bit and still not suffer that much because so quickly. But yeah, not a fan. I won't be a fan if they really, like gut some of the destinies, and I'm not going to be happy if they completely snub hardcore for 2024. Like, if they don't give us like a dragon themed one, I at least want a redux of season 4. Season 4 was a good season, so. Why would the Heart Guardian attack the giant monster right next to her? Why not just start firebombing the mobs that are across the field? Yeah, I hope they add a new Epic Destiny, though. this dude does an attack that can make me nauseous. And I can't heal. Somebody's asking me a question. They just hit level 20 on their bard. They're iconic. They want to make a new tune instead of doing epics. I don't know. I mean, I like epics better than heroics, so. To me, all the extra power is fun, so. I just prefer epic and legendary content. The heroic, not only is it, you know, a lot simpler, like power-wise, but it's also the XP, the way they have it sort of like doled out in heroics is so slow. It just feels like it's so slow leveling up in heroics, whereas in epics, you can sing it right along. So that's what I'm gonna reply. Like, I have had a lot of fun doing Reapers this season, though. Got in a lot of really good groups and run with some of the best players in the game. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, you see, I found a Black Pearl ring, but I need Kraken ring or a dinosaur ring. See what LFMs are up. No, it doesn't look like it's very busy as far as legendary content goes. There's a lot of groups. It's very busy on hardcore. But most of the groups are very low level heroic. All the way to there. At level 10, and then not much is going on after level 10. I know this person, they're farming for Uon stones, so. Is it Uon or Ion? No. I say Uon stone. The little shit thing that orbits around your head. That thing. Ion? Yeah. Okay. That's cool. So we pronounce it different. Ion stone. Yeah, I would know what you meant. I would say Uon stone. Maybe you wouldn't know what I meant. Blacklock. Station Reaper. No. No loot farming groups. I haven't seen one. So the real question is, if anybody knows like Forgotten Realms lore, do you think that they'll base our Myth Draenor experience, like our expansion, off of like a existing content? Do you think, is there something like a module that exists? Don't know. None of the modules that I have a couple of Forgotten Realms modules that I got at like flea markets and stuff, but none of them are Myth Draenor specific. But I know that area shows up in like other video games, right? Wasn't it in the Icewind Dale or the original Baldur's Gate game? Didn't they have people from Myth Draenor? That's like a lore deep dive probably, but it'd be interesting to see if they're going to base our expansion on something that exists already, or if they're just going to like come up with it on their own. I think it would be really cool. You know what else I also think they need to do? I think they need to make for like the event, like the 20th anniversary event, I think that they should make sentient gems for like content creators. So you would be able to like get a sentient gem that's Voodoo or Strimtom or somebody else, you know, and then slot it in your weapon and have them say goofy things to you. I think that'd be really cool because it not only would a lot of players probably enjoy that because, you know, they like the content creators, but it would also engage the community to like participating in the creation of assets for the game. I don't know if it would ever happen, but it would be cool. I know I would certainly voice record content for them if they asked me to. But right now, I'm not on the shill at all. So I can say whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. But I love the game, so I wouldn't ever say anything super bad. I just want them to explain why Hardcore got snubbed for the Year of the Dragon and the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. You need a dragon themed hardcore, right? I think it was Little Mama, you said it, right? We need a dragon themed hardcore. I think that's the best idea I've heard all day. No rares. Oh, so I was saying this earlier. Less people were in the channel, but so if I could add a VIP reward for VIPs, the reward I would make is that anytime you go into a Slayer zone, all of the rares are there if you are a VIP. So every rare would be there for a VIP. See how now, like the mummy, it's not here. The undead that's usually right here, there's no rare up, so I just have to keep going. I haven't seen a rare yet. I am a VIP. One free reroll per chest as a VIP. I would, yeah, sure. I'm not a fan of the reroll system in general, but since it's probably not going away, we'll use it all the time. I agree. Yeah, having a free VIP roll would be good. Well, I think having all of the rares show up would be a great, like, perk. Because it adds absolute value, like, really noticeable. Like, yeah, anytime I go out to Slayer Zone, all the rares are there. It doesn't mean that you're going to loot the chest and get everything you want immediately, because, look, I've been hunting for a ring now for hours, and I haven't found one. So, you know, doesn't mean that I'm going to, like, pay to win just by subbing as a VIP, but it does add a lot of convenience, because then I don't have to just exit and reset.
Dense webs enshroud the base of this huge exotic tree.
I find that a lot of the, like, the cogs is a great example of, I don't think I've ever seen all the rares that are out in the cogs. Like, I just don't even know what rares are out there. I've seen a few of them, but it's so infrequent, and it's not like I've ever gone out there hunting, because there's nothing specific that drops from those chests other than crafting mats. So if I come across one, I think there's a dinosaur. I think there's a Warforged. If I happen to run into one, that's cool, but oh yeah, so you never got the quarterstaff for heroic Temple of Elemental Evil since it came out. Never. You ran it on hardcore and you got it passed to you. It's a gift. Yeah, you know, that's great. And you spent tons of shards re-rolling for it. I'll tell you something. I have only seen that staff pulled once on hardcore, and I think Ord pulled it. He's in channel, or at least he was in channel. Right? Like, I think that was it. I was in the group when he pulled it, and he used it that season, I believe, or made a tune to use it. But I've never seen it on live. I don't have one. I would love to have one. It's a great quarterstaff. That's the elemental bloom, right? Or something like that. Has a name, something like that. But paralyze. Yeah, the bloom. Yeah, it does a paralyzing strike. And in low level heroics, that's really strong. They're so easy to kill in the Slayer zones. No. I think I might have to give up. I've seen 3 dinosaur belts. No ring. And I'm really close to being ransacked out in the salt marsh. Still need black pearls though, so we'll do this again. Oh, does it look good? Yeah. That staff. Cool. Yeah, I've never owned one. I've seen people use them. You know what I've never pulled in the game ever? And I've been playing for a long time is Sword of Shadows. I've never actually pulled one myself. I've been in groups where they were pulled, but I don't have one. Now, I don't usually play melee, so I don't really care, but if I did want to play melee, I would want one of those, and I think it's really weird that I've never pulled one. Because I used to do the Dragon Raid all the time. But I do have a Black Razor, so... Yeah, I hear ya. Yeah, you get them on tunes that you don't want them on. Right, because they're bound to character. And it's expensive to do that inheritance wish. Which I won't do. I want them to get rid of bound to character. I don't think it works anymore. Like, I understand why they had it like that, but we're in such a different meta now. It shouldn't matter, basically. Like, if you have a tune that you really like to play and you want to raid on that tune, you should be able to farm your raid gear and then pass it to your alts. You shouldn't have to be stuck, like, raiding on an alt that you don't play often, that you're not very good on. Yeah, right. It's very expensive for that Wish of Inheritance, too, right? Like 2,500 points or something. Yeah, well, it also, having stuff bound to character makes it so that, like, this is a great example. If I were to log into Sarlona and show you Mary Spank over there, my main character over there, I've got stuff from like 15 years ago that I don't use, but I don't want to delete because it doesn't spawn anymore. And it's all bound to my character. Like, it's just... There's nothing I can do with it. If it were bound to account, I could throw it on a bank tune. But because it's stuck on Mary, I have to, every time I TR, you know, my cache is filled with all this stuff that I never use. And the same thing goes for, like, aren't Yugoloth potions bound to you as well, right? Like, if you load up on Yugoloth potions, I had, like, stacks of them in my TR cache because I bought a bunch when I was on a Bard. I got them cheap. Yeah, the potions are bound, yeah. Those Yugoloth potions. And, you know, they're really good in heroics. I don't really use them in epics, but... you know, for the heroic reapers, they definitely help. I'm sure people would disagree. Maybe they are good in epics. It's just our game, like, the meta is so different than when those potions were introduced. That, you know, everything is super powerful now. They do an Epic Destiny pass and they nerf some stuff. I hope they don't nerf my Shard Storm because I really like it. Yeah, that's true. Right. Well, they sort of got rid of that meta that, like, a positive effect has a negative. Like, you have to balance out the good with the bad. They don't really do that anymore. We got 3 pearls and the scimitar. Pretty cool. You can still loot some of the old named items that have curses on them and stuff, like -1 dex, or... They don't really do that anymore. I mean, look at the deck of curses. This is a great example of what I'm talking about. It's called a deck of curses, and yet, you know, it, like, adds a buff. Like, I think I have... I think I have an item that I put those cards on. Might be wrong. Yeah, I guess it's on my other Oh, no, no, there's one. So that's a curse of major strength. You've been cursed. You gain +2 strength. Like, what? What? How is that a curse? Hey, feel like I'm taking crazy pills. It won't go off on that rant, though. I do like the decks a lot better, though, now that they're easier to gain. Some of the effects are pretty cool. Like, I put one on an item and it makes fireflies fly around me now. I have it on my other character. Pretty cool. I like that they added the ability to add cosmetic effects. Like, I think that's a really neat add for the game. I think it needs more stuff like that. I would love if they added something that I could alter my Warforged, like if I do a Warforged life, and instead of looking just like that hulking robot, to make myself look like an elf or a halfling or, you know, like a different race. In the Eberron rulebook, if you have like the player's handbook for Eberron, they allow you to customize your Warforged to look like one of the other races on purpose. Like they were able to sort of modify their bodies, and it'd be really cool if they let us do that here. Hey, thank you for the sub. You know, we only get one Prime sub each, so I appreciate that. I keep hoping they add another, because I have a Prime membership as well, and it'd be really nice if they added that as like a perk, since they keep raising the fees, and even now at like the Prime movies are going to be showing us ads during the movies. Like it would be nice if they gave us another Twitch sub, you know, for being a Prime member, or even like 3. Like if you know, you can use 3 instead of just the 1. But I don't know. I just read that they're nice. Yay. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna customize those. I have plans. So they eventually will look cool, but right now that's the placeholder. Whatever the generic Twitch founder. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, I think it's the first 50 or 100, I guess. Not the right person to ask about that because I don't actually know, but I know it is a good time if you care about that kind of stuff because they're still available, so. But I'm not a hard sell kind of guy. I think if you enjoy the channel and the content, that's great. I think it's really like fun to stream, so I appreciate the viewers and stuff. Hey, the alligator's up. Haven't seen this. Yeah, I can get my Ring of the Kraken from this chest. Nope. So depressing. This is why we learned algebra when we were younger, right? In-game depression from not finding our loot cancels real-life depression from seasonal. We hope. That's what we'll tell ourselves anyway. I'm committed to finding this ring. I need an artifact. Okay, they're doing R4s. Oh, and yeah. And he's doing White Plume Mountain. They have artifacts in White Plume? They do, right? Yeah. If you have a level 20, you could open a chest, but
For a moment,
I wouldn't want
taken
to
back by the sprawling pit
risk
and the
like a
foul
Slayer
smell.
zone
What vile thing have you discovered? Then you
getting you,
realize
but I'm pretty good
it's the
about
town.
killing stuff. You know, I just found out that I can um Misty Misty Step while I'm on my horse and it doesn't dismount me. You know, for all the hay that I have found, I should be able to buy an artifact. I have like 40,000 pieces of hay. Oh, this dude's up. That's good. He's sort of rare. He's gone crazy because of one mysterious remnant. Well, what about us? Like, I have thousands of those things. So if anybody is hunting for filigrees and you're watching and you're on hardcore, I may actually have like a filigree. Feel free to ask me because I've just been putting them all in my bank. I won't use them, so I'm happy to trade them. Just give them. The other thing too is I have thieves tools. You need +5 thieves tools on hardcore, just let me know and I'll mail them to you. I have a lot, so please don't be shy if you need them. Happy to give away anything. I gave away all the portable holes I have, but hopefully I find another one. I didn't use it, and so you can see, like, I only have 3 bags, but that's because this character, like, I didn't do any quests in the harbor, or the Coin Lord quests. Like, I just basically, like, when I first made the character, was doing dice rolls. Not all at once, but like when I would log in. And so I had a bunch saved up, and so I just ate a bunch of dice, rolled like after a couple of weeks. And that allowed me to skip a lot of those early quests, so I don't have any favor. Normally I don't quest on this character because it's the Guildmaster, but I figured with extra lives it was okay. Ah, we got a ring, but not the ring. I'm already wearing that ring. Yeah, it's frustrating. If I did a saga, I could get one at the end. Like if I did all the Sharn quests, I know. But it's a random artifact. Like I couldn't even pick. I don't think there's a charisma ring in Sharn. I think I'd have to get a necklace.
There was a battle here, and judging from the corpses,
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
a battle that the lizard folk clearly lost.
Good juju for the next chest. Although, I
This
think
ship
I'm
seems to have
ransacked
sunk
on this
very
next
recently.
chest.
The main cabin appears to be completely intact.
We'll have to see. Okay, yeah, that was the last time I can loot this chest. That's 8. Yep, and the ransack timer resets in about 6 days, 5.5 days. So that was the last pull on this one. And there's no... I can't think of another artifact charisma ring. And I think there's a necklace in Sharn. Just gonna sell all this stuff instead of crunching it. Save the rare scrolls. I have more +5 tools. This stuff. Adamantine death block. I would save it if it had a slot, but mithril. Again, I would save this if it had a slot, but it doesn't. We're pretty much done crafting, which is why I'm not melting this stuff down. You know, they had that crafting weekend experience, so I was able to get it pretty high. So this character's pretty done. Like at 320, I can make anything for myself. So the server that this character winds up on, it'll basically mean that I can make anything on that server for a character that I want. I think it's going to go to Thelanis. I think I have to look. I have like a list at the end of every hardcore. I send whatever tune I did crafting on to a specific, like a server that I haven't done a crafter on before. Even though I don't play on any of the other servers, I have dice tunes on all the servers. So, and I've moved my like favorite tunes to a bunch. Like I moved one to Argo, I moved one to Orion, moved one to Cannith. So I just have to check and see like where this crafting tune will go, and then the Reaper tune that I have on this server too will probably follow this tune. And I think it's Thelanis this time around, but I might be wrong. I know Sarlona is my main, and then I know I moved a bunch of stuff to Argo and Orion and Cannith. What else is there? There's Thelanis, and then isn't there one that starts with a G? Maybe somebody plays on it. I'm not going to Wayfinder ever. I mean, I have a dice tune on Wayfinder, but there's just nobody on Wayfinder, so. I think it's Galanda. Yeah, G-Land. Oh, yeah, let's do that. I haven't looked at the dead in a while. I have 2 dead. Now we just threw them off the Yeah, see, I hope that they redo these graphics for the Purple Dragon Knight when they refresh, because the artwork for 5E is different. Like this is 3 3.5. That artwork was like more exaggerated, so these don't even really look like the other humans that we have. It would be nice if they refreshed that. I know some people like them though, but I think it would be cool if they did what they did in Lord of the Rings Online, which is they allow you to, you can check a box. Do you want to use the new image for the new, they redesigned a bunch of their character models, or do you want to use the old one? I think every time they talk about it, at least I've heard Severlin say that he wants to redo them and he knows that they need to be redone, but I don't think they've ever actually committed to having resources with it. So my hope is with Myth Draenor being like the target expansion that we're getting, since that's the Forgotten Realms, that they'll refresh other Forgotten Realms assets while they do that. I mean, since they have, you know, resources on that material, like it's a perfect alignment to get it done if they're ever going to do it. And they can do, like I was saying, what they do in Lord of the Rings Online, which is just give us a checkbox. If you want to use the old model, use the old model. If you want the new model, use the new model, and there you go. That's great. So over in Lord of the Rings, I can use my old, you know, I can look like the old elf model that they have, or I can look like one of the new, you know, they added like high elf and stuff like that. They made them look a lot cooler. But on some of my characters, I still use the old models. I don't really play a lot of Lord of the Rings Online. I do log in and refresh my houses and stuff like that. I beta tested for Lord of the Rings for Turbine back when they were developing that game, and then got a lifetime account launched. So I still log in and refresh my houses and stuff. I was not able to get a DDO lifetime. I tried, but I don't know, you know, they didn't, for some reason they offered me a Lord of the Rings one after I beta tested them, but after I beta tested DDO, they did not offer them. But I think some people got them, so I don't know. It was a long time ago. So out here, we're looking for a Fey Twisted chest. If I find one, I'll put up an LFM for it. And I still need experience, so I do want to kill stuff as I go. So I think it would be cool, since they're going to Myth Draenor, if they sort of include some of the stuff that was in the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Maybe they could give us a character that's similar to that that wizard from Thay that was in that film. Maybe even some of the NPCs who are similar to the characters in that movie would be cool. But apparently we're getting wild magic. That'd be really cool. Especially if they add like the archetype for sorcerer, like a wild magic sorc. That'd be really cool. I played one of those in Baldur's Gate. It was pretty fun. One fight that I had the wild magic procced during a fight, and it turned everyone, all of my party and all of the bad guys, into various animals. So like I was turned into like a cat, and the other person was turned into a dog, and the goblin I was fighting was turned into a sheep. It was a really funny wild magic proc. But I liked it because of that. It made it interesting. So that sort of thing in DDO would be interesting too, I think. Yes, it can proc and do a lot of damage, but yes, it can also proc and polymorph you into a cat or something. Or a rat or whatever. And then, yeah, maybe they need to allow our druids to turn into owl bears. That would be cool.
Within the distance of just a few short steps, the temperature plummets and snow covers the ground.
Okay, so that rare is not there.
Change in the climate
Just gonna get out of here.
wasn't natural.
Yeah, right. That's right. An overly plump dragon, like in the movie. That dragon was very large. Yeah. Oh my god, I was so upset. I liked that movie, right? What I was upset about is if you're going to go into the Underdark, how do you not show Drow? Like, it seemed like such a missed opportunity. They were already down there.
Pixies have built a village among the boughs of this tower.
What they did show looked pretty cool, but
tiny creatures
I think they could have done a lot better.
house to house. Fortunately for you, the branches form a ramp for the village's earthbound.
I think Baldur's Gate 3 did a really good job with the Underdark. We have it pretty good. It's just we don't have enough of it. Okay, that rare's not up and that rare's not up. Let's see if Tiger Lily is here.
In the midst of the swamp stands a curious henge.
Yeah, like I want them to add player housing, and then I want them to offer the Underdark as one of the locations for player housing. Right? Because I'm a drow. Like, where else would I live? I would want to live in the Underdark. It doesn't have to just be the Underdark. You know, they could have all the different... Like, they could have the continent of Corvair. Or Eberron. Stormreach. Be really cool if I could live in a crazy weird house in the Underdark. That would be great. In Baldur's Gate, one of the decisions that I made is I saved one of the characters, and in doing that, I also saved a bunch of these vampire spawns. But there were like 7,000 of them, and the only way I could free them was to let them go. And they all like ran into the Underdark. So I think I may have inadvertently killed everyone in the Underdark in my Baldur's Gate playthrough because I unleashed 7,000 vampire spawns. But that was the good ending. So I said everybody's weird in the Underdark already. They won't mind. all the extra vampires down there. Hey, the tree's up. Not a Fey chest, though. Put down my Heart Guardian and she'll start nuking everybody. She really is cool, and she's like... she got like Lara Faye's coding, so she just constantly attacks everybody. Her DPS isn't very much, though. I like her because she throws out heals. Hit me with a heal if I need it. Which is good if you're soloing. So I definitely have enough Ferro Crystal to buy anything, but I don't think I can get... I can get some filigrees, but I cannot get artifacts. No, I have to actually quest. What I should do is like the Salt Marsh, but I just did that yesterday on my other character, and I didn't see one artifact on that character either. So it's not like they are super common. Oh, they're doing White Plume. Really need anything from there.
Within the distance of just a few short steps, the temperature...
I do like the Black Razor gems, though. They're good.
The ground. Whatever caused this sudden change in the...
All of them are good, actually. The Wave is good. Whelm. So we're invisible. They can still see us, but it'll keep it from red alerting. I probably couldn't red alert it myself anyway, though, but usually on hardcore I do that. Extra safe. It's a good way to survive, though, if you're in a pug. Carry invisibility scrolls or potions or a wand or something like that if you go into a Slayer zone. I've seen people die in hardcore seasons to it, so
the branches form a ramp for the village's earthbound.
One of the reasons I started doing it. And that's so annoying that that thing puts an acid dot on you and then you cannot open the chest. It will interrupt you. Yeah, the Cobalt gem is really cute. It's one of my favorite gems, and we can earn it from the anniversary event, which is coming up next month, right? So it's a good opportunity to get it if you want it. It'll be available, likely. It was last year, and it was the year before that, so I think it's like a permanent fixture, right? It's pretty expensive, though. Like, you have to do quite a bit of the anniversary party in order to get enough pieces to buy it, but I certainly think it's worth it. It's definitely one of the best
the midst of the
gems.
Stands a curious head.
Definitely.
Though you search for some sort of legible inscription, You cannot find any sign of who
I
built
use
it.
it for my epic weapon.
Oh
So
my.
from 20 to 30 have the kobold. Which, you know, like I've done in my DDO career, I have done an awful lot of those Cannith challenges. And the Cannith challenges primarily focus on like some sort of kobold thing. So you're like running a line and kobolds are working for you, or you're on the island and there's these little kobold camps, but they all say stuff that sounds an awful lot like that gem. So because I did them so much, at one point that Cannith gear was really good. So for me, it reminds me of that. So that's one of the reasons that I like it. So for somebody else who's maybe just done Waterworks a billion times, still cool. I still want Legendary Waterworks. Right? I want I want Legendary Waterworks. I want the kobolds to decide that they're taking over Zendrick, and it starts with Waterworks. They start trying to invade the city. Like if they said, "Okay, Mary, we're gonna let you write our next expansion," what would it be? If I couldn't do like Expedition to Barrier Peaks, which that would be my first choice, then I would write a legendary Waterworks where the kobolds decide they want to take over. Oh, that has 2 slots. Save it. Wow, I looted greater heroism potions. That's really cool. I didn't know that they dropped. Some really good rare scrolls. I put all the rare scrolls on the ship, so if anybody needs them, they're in officer chests 1. I'm gonna take 5 and refresh my tea. Okay, brand new cup of tea. How great is that? It may get dark at 4. Everything may be covered in ice and freezing cold, but we can still have tea. Pretty good. And we have video games. Even better. We're going to look and see right now what content people are watching on Twitch that has the word dragon. Oh, you had a snowstorm? You're in Canada though, right, little mama? I'm in Boston and we had a storm yesterday. I live north of Boston, so it was craptacular here. Ontario, Canada, yeah. We had like snow. It was freezing. We got snow. Then it rained. Then it got cold. Everything turned to ice. And then we got really strong wind last night. Thought the power was going to go out. And then today it was sunny and 55 and everything melted. So, yeah, in New England, this whole area. Hey, Chief Visigoth. Yeah, it was yeah, it's enough like why the stream is channeled seasonal depression. It'll drive you crazy because the Boston New England weather is just so mentally unstable. It's one day it's like 0 degrees out, and then it snows. And then the next day it's 50 degrees and everything is warm and sunny and it feels like spring. And then the next day again it's super dark and rainy, and then all of a sudden it snows again, and it's constantly ping-ponging you from extremes. So today was gorgeous. It was 55 degrees out, sunny, but last night it sounded like a blizzard. The day before that was super icy. The day before that was snowy. Like, I don't know. Who knows? So, a lot of Dragon Ball Z. Know it. Dragon Age. I played Dragon Age. Dragon Age right now has 230 viewers. Wow. Your wind chill is minus 11 Celsius. That's very cold. And being somebody who lives in the United States and we use Fahrenheit, I do know, right, that 0 Celsius is 32 Fahrenheit. So to be minus 11 Celsius, that's cold. 35 viewers are watching Dragon Age Inquisition. I played that. It was okay. And then 76 viewers are watching Dragon Age 2. So we'll search for Dungeon. Let's see. Dungeons and Dragons. We'll get really specific. Okay, here's one I've never heard of. Okay, so when you lived in northern Saskatchewan, central North Canada, winter minus 35. That reminds me of my friend who lives in Vancouver. And he told me when he used to live in Winnipeg that his winters were like living in Antarctica. He said it was super freezing. Like, I don't mind the cold and the snow, but I'm much more of like a spring and summer weather type of person. Um Winnipeg, yeah. So Dungeons and Dragons Daggerdale has 325 followers, but nobody's actually. Dungeons and Dragons has another game called Dragons of the Flame that also has 350 followers, but no viewers at the moment. DDO, 80 viewers at the moment. And these Twitch numbers are like everybody on Twitch, so it's all over the world. Oh, Dark Alliance. I've heard of that. There's nobody watching it right now, but they have almost 14,000 followers. It's interesting looking at Dungeons and Dragons. Viewers for Dungeons and Dragons right now are DDO, and then the actual game. Like, I think people are like playing on Twitch, kind of like they do in Critical Role. Like they're playing, and there's 1.8, so 1,800 viewers watching people play pen and paper. And that's it. I don't see any other video games right now with viewers for Dungeons and Dragons. It's very interesting. That says to me that there's space, that they need to come up with a new game or something. A lot of these I haven't even heard of. Like Dungeons and Dragons Hillsfar, isn't that a video game that came out like 30 years ago? Pool of Radiance, like that's definitely old. I'm not sure why some of these are even in here. Heroes of the Lance. Yeah, that's an old game too. $86 viewers for DDO though. It's pretty good, all things considered. Let's check their other. What is the other one? Lord of the Rings on. See how many watching. See how many watching. See how many watching. See how many watching. 42. So we've got almost double 42. The population of that. So we've got, which is really interesting because we've got, which is really, I think they have more people who are VIP. I think they have more people who are VIP. But I know the latest update they did for Lord of the Rings Online was not very well received, and so I wouldn't be surprised if people are like playing something else, right? Because there's a 2023 was a really good year for video games. Like there's a lot of games out there now. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were playing something else. I guess one of the most surprising. Oh, yeah, I was talking about this earlier. I just got distracted. This is the shiny new button. So, yeah, you guys probably see people running around like this. You guys may already know this, but I'll cover it anyway. Gameplay. Have all these wonderful things you can check off. And in this here, experimental tumble controls allows you to run and tumble without stopping. Very useful. Yeah, well, you think the games would have increased in pandemic during popularity during the pandemic? Yeah, I think that they did. I think that they saw a big uptick in, well, certainly Twitch content creation, YouTube, things like that about video games. And then it sort of set up like the year that we had last year, 2023. There's just a lot of really good video games. So I think that the pandemic was good for gamers. Like if you like video, definitely good. Also was a really nice way to pass the time during the pandemic too. Like, oh my god, I'm being forced to stay in and play video games. Like, it sounds odd to say, but in a lot of ways, you know, it was a tragedy and it was horrible, and I felt bad that people were suffering and dying. But from the social aspect, being forced to stay in and play video games, I didn't care at all. I was like, can't the world always be like this? Why does everybody give a shit about reality? Video games are so cool. But I'm like a super introvert, so like I kind of was happy. I was happy to be told to stay away from people, and oh god, I get to finally say no, I'm not going to that event with people because it's not going to be safe. But meanwhile, I wanted to say no anyway. So I I didn't really care. Yeah. Yeah, for me it was, you know, like like very good for an introvert. I don't understand why you know, more people don't play video games because I think they're super fun. You know, I have friends, they don't play them at all. One of my brothers doesn't play video games at all. And meanwhile, like, he'll read like Lord of the Rings. So I know that he likes the genre. He likes the adventure, right? But he just doesn't want to play video games. So people are different. My idea of fun is playing a video game for 8 hours, and his idea of fun is going for a run, and then, you know, like, I guess, what do people do after they go for a run? I don't even know. I don't. probably I probably should know, but I don't. That's not to say that I don't, you know, exercise or whatever, but I would much rather just play games. So. Yeah, so a lot of really good games, and I want to play a lot of them. I want to play, like, I would love to try Lies of P. I would like to do, I think it's Alan Wake. Looks really good, but it's, you know, there's only so many hours in the day, so I really have to pick. So likely what I'll do is try to pick some games that I think would be cool to live stream or to make content about. I know for a fact when the Star Wars Outcast comes out this year, I will buy it and play it and probably live stream it, or at least make some YouTube content about it, because I'm hoping that it's going to be good. It could completely suck. So, but I'm going to try it. I'm also going to try, forget the name of it. Path of Exile 2, I think it's called. And it's like very similar to Diablo. I think it's coming out this year, but I look forward to trying that because it looks really good. I think this year we're also getting Final Fantasy VII, which I haven't played a lot of the Final Fantasies, but I do think they're really pretty. So I might try that. We'll see. I mean, obviously I plan on playing all of the DDO content that comes out and participating in the dynamic event that they have scheduled. I just hope it's not a complete letdown. You know, I hope it's better than the Illithid. I'm going to do another video series on, like, whatever it is, though, so I will be farming it for content, whether it's good or bad. I don't really care. It's gonna continue continue to make my goofy content about it. So we're back out looking for rares. I don't dare do the dragon. I think this character's gear is not good enough. And I definitely don't want to go near Stonejaw. That would probably kill me. So. Aside from being interesting Twitch content, I wouldn't want to do it because I would likely perish. I do have 3 lives, so I could spare one, but losing one to Stonejaw would be kind of... Okay, so I've looted this chest 6 times. 2 more goes on it. Oh, I really wanted to play Dave the Diver too, if anybody knows that game. It was nominated for Best RPG, I think. Just looks really cool. It reminded me of a game that I used to play when I was a kid called The Curse of Monkey Island, if anybody knows that game, which was really cool. So, but I haven't got Dave the Diver. I haven't played it. I would like to. The last game I put on my computer was Fortnite. And the last game I played that wasn't DDO was Lego Fortnite, which I liked a lot. I thought it was really fun. So at some point when hardcore ends, I may actually do a stream of Lego Fortnite. It's pretty cool. And see if anybody else is interested, because I think you can like invite people to play on your map. So that would be pretty cool too. Something that's, you know, like a break. I mean, I love this game, but every once in a while I need to like take a break. Usually it's not that long. Although after what was it? The Shadowfell expansion, when they released that, I took a couple year break after that. I just wasn't a super fan of that content, so and then I came back. It may have been longer than a couple of years, but I came back right before they released Ravenloft. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, in the game you can do things you can't do in real life. Good evening, Trog. How are you? I hope everybody is well. Happy Wednesday, right? I've already ranted about the snub in the producer letter to hardcore, so I'll spare everyone. But I will be posting my rant about that to my YouTube channel, so wanted to check it out. I'm not overly like mean or anything like that. I have a lot of optimism about what they're doing. I just hope that they omitted it as sort of like a, you know, they plan to do it, they just didn't include it. I know that they did include a sentence where they said that they're replacing the normal hardcore with the dynamic event that they're introducing, but that doesn't mean that they won't have a redux, because the next redux would be season 4, right? Season 4 was a really interesting season. It had a lot of good rewards, and it also had a lot of interesting champions. So it certainly would be fun to have, even if that were the only season for the whole year. It certainly would be, you know, good. But I love the idea of having a dragon-themed hardcore, though, so that would be really cool, too. I mean, dragon-themed everything, right? It should be like, we should get little dragon outfits, and we should have fake dragon mounts and dragon ice cream. I mean, like, it should be the year of the dragon. It's the 50th anniversary for Dungeons and Dragons. And I know they can't do merch, but still. It should be themed on dragons. Yeah, other things like dungeons, right? Man, that is some creative. Yeah. 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. That means this Halloween, dressing up as a zombie of Gary Gygax is legit. Reviving Tom Hanks' character from that movie that he made where he jumps off the roof as a result of the as a result of the game. Right? The game made him do it. Oh boy. I mean, this game has survived a lot, right? This game has made it through a lot of controversy. All the satanic panic, all of the weird press. And yet, here it is. 5e, I think, is the most popular rule set ever. I think more people are playing it, pen and paper, than ever before. Obviously not video games, because there just aren't that many Dungeons & Dragons video games, but yeah, I'm going to look. I really am going to look for a copy. I don't own one of Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. I really want to get one. Most of the modules I have are originals that I got at like yard sales and flea markets and stuff. So I'm gonna go on eBay and see if I can find an original. Be really cool. Oh my god. So close. We're getting closer to the fingers. But it's not a ring. It's closer. Probably a pipe dream, right? To think that I'll find one. You got that question on last night's trivia stream. What rock band sings Dungeons and Dragons themed song? Is there a band? Well, okay, so if you say a band that's singing themed songs, the first thing that jumps to my mind is Led Zeppelin, but they're singing about like Lord of the Rings. Palace of the Vampire Queen is the first D&D module. I did not know that. Yeah, there's a lot of the OG lore that I don't know. But what rock band was singing about Dungeons and Dragons? I'm trying to think, like, if it wasn't Led Zeppelin, I can't even imagine who it was. The Beatles? But the Beatles wouldn't, because they were British, right? And Dungeons and Dragons was an American thing. It certainly wasn't Elvis, right? He's not. I don't think he's the type of dude who would play D&D, right? Very extroverted. I might be wrong. Maybe he loved it. Can't even think of a band. Like Metallica, maybe? Oh, the band specifically does songs based on Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. We Warriors. Oh, Gygax is the band name. Okay. Makes sense. I don't think I've ever heard them. That's pretty cool. One of the reasons that I love Led Zeppelin, aside from the music being great is the fact that they sing about stuff like Lord of the Rings. Really cool. It makes me wonder why like modern bands aren't singing about things like Star Wars and other cultural phenomena. Be really cool. That's pretty cool. I'll have to like search them on Google and take a listen. I've never even heard of them. I didn't even know there was a band named MCMXT. Yeah, Weird Al is great. I think he just won an Emmy, right? Or some sort of award for his movie. Which is pretty cool considering he's been around for a while. I was happy about Stranger Things. Season 1 I thought was great, and one of the things I really liked about it was how they were just kids sitting around playing Dungeons and Dragons. I thought that was very cool. It reminded me of E.T., right? You know, the beginning of E.T. There were more bands that sang about D&D campaigns. That's pretty cool.
A flock of griffins have made the shipwreck into their eyrie. They are not pleased to see you.
Okay, the chest is not up. You just have to mosey. We'll pick up the hairy trumpet mushroom, though. Oh, you just turned 50. Happy birthday. So your birthday is really close to the anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. Pretty cool.
Dense webs enshroud the base.
Over the years, they made a few different video games for the various consoles, right? Like, didn't they have a Dungeons and Dragons game for the Nintendo? They had a whole bunch. Oh, see, I'm not sure if a mod can actually lurk, right? Like, I don't know if that counts. But we'll take it. Hello and welcome. Although I won't actually say hello and welcome because I found out on Reddit that when people in DDO say hello and welcome, it's actually a troll. I don't know if you guys knew that. But in DDO land specifically, if somebody says hello, welcome, that's a troll. They're trolling you. They're being inauthentic. Basically saying it's a noob. D&D. MERPs. What's MERPs? MERPs, is that a game? Video game? I don't know, Mama. Like, all I know is I have a friend now that I like trolling, and whenever I see him, I always say hello, welcome, because that's the that's the DDO troll. It's true. It's legit too. I'm not making this up. Oh God, kidding me? I'm literally gonna find every single artifact in the game except for the ring that I need, right? Okay. Maybe the game is trying to tell me to use a different part, right? Maybe I could make that boot work. Probably not, though. How do you give up the deep snow boots? They give all sorts of bonuses to hit points, and I'm on hardcore. And freedom of movement. Like, I would have to go into the Vecna quest and get some of the armor that has freedom of movement on it. And then if I'm gonna do that, then I might as well just run all the quests and do the saga, and they'll probably offer me something anyway at the end. I don't know if they have artifacts at Vecna, but I have seen like a pen and paper Lord of the Rings, if that's what you're talking about. I've seen that before. And when I was younger, one of my friends made like a home brew of that. I don't think it was official though, but it was fun to play. We used to play like that kind of stuff in class. You know, by like passing notes and stuff when I was very young. And then it all quickly was like forgotten when school was over because we would all go home and play video games. So back then it was like Sega Genesis, and I don't remember them having Dungeons and Dragons game for Sega Genesis. Okay, yep. Have a good night. Thank you for hanging out. Hope it's a good snack. Eventually going to have to do that too, but not for a little bit. Sega Genesis, Warriors of the Eternal Sun. I did not play it, but you just reminded me of the Dark Sun campaign setting. I remember as a kid, we had like the box set for Dark Sun, and we never actually played an adventure from it. I don't think we had one, but I used to look at the rule book. I thought the rule book was cool. It would be really cool if like they did a quest in DDO set in like the Dark Sun. If they could do something like that, because it looked really cool. I think for that game I rolled up a Thri-kreen, which is still one of my favorite races. I think, right? Is Thri-kreen is a D&D race? It's like an insect, like a praying mantis. I might be wrong though. I might be thinking of like a sci-fi game, but I thought we had them in D&D. I really like those snake the Yuan Teas or whatever they're called. Uh, we get them out in Three Barrel Cove. I thought that they would be cool to do as like a player race. Because they don't all look like snakes. Some of them look like elves. Nice. So in that game, Eternal Sun, Warriors of the Eternal Sun on the Sega Genesis, you could play cleric, a fighter, a magic user, a thief, a dwarf, an elf, or a halfling. Pretty cool. Yeah, I was telling during the Friday live stream, I mentioned that I, here over the holidays, play a game called Dungeon, which basically is like it's a TSR game. We got a copy of it when I was a kid. It was like I think it was a yard sale, and it was mostly intact, and it was really cool because you pick either a warrior or an elf or a wizard. And yeah, like you have to basically dungeon crawl and you pull these cards and see what kind of loot you get out of a chest, and sometimes you get something really good and sometimes you get something really bad. Really neat. I always liked playing the elf because the elf could find secret doors really easy, but always it seemed like anybody who played the wizard in that game would win just because they got, you know, access to lightning bolts and fireballs and stuff like that. Oh, TSR did a funny style D board game called Mertzwig's Maze. Interesting. I'll have to look that up. I've never heard of it. The funniest game that I played similar to Dungeon was a game by a creator named Steve Jackson, and he made a game called The Awful Green Things from Outer Space, and had that, and we used to play that as well. Which I think they based on a movie, a science fiction movie. Yeah, he did. I haven't played a lot, but I know that he made a lot. Didn't he make Car Wars? Wasn't that his? Forget. It's been a while. I had a friend who used to be into collecting his stuff. Yeah, Car Wars. Yep. Yeah, I've never played it, but I had a friend who told me all about them. I think I have to give up looking for this. Sad to say. Don't think I'm gonna find it. I mean, technically, it doesn't matter because I'm already done. I've got all the rewards, so just doing it for fun. GURPS. I've heard of GURPS. I cannot say I've ever played a GURPS game, but I have heard of it. Yeah, there were a few other games that we played, although I'm not remembering the names of them. But they were similar to Dungeon. Oh, generic universal role playing system. Cool. We found a game and it was like an old boxed set and we tried it. It was called Star Frontiers. I think it was a TSR game. And I really liked it. I also really liked, we found it was TSR. It was an old Gamma World module that I really liked. I thought that was great being a fan of like post apocalyptic. I like the fact that it was based on like a post atomic future where everything was mutated and your character even had mutations. Like I thought it was cool. Yeah, Star Frontiers was something similar to like Buck Rogers. Yeah, Flash Gordon sort of. Yeah, it was sci-fi, like sort of Star Wars, but sort of D&D. But I liked it. We didn't play it a lot, because the what we found was sort of incomplete. But I'm sure if I went on eBay, I could probably find posting the stuff. But I thought it was neat. Now it's like I hope they make those sort of cool things into video games. I know they said that they're updating Diablo 4 and Diablo 4 is getting an expansion, but I can't really be excited about it because they kind of tragically failed on that. I don't even have it installed anymore, which is really weird because like the older versions of that game are really good. Yeah, Gamma World was really wacky because you could roll for the mutation, like the D100 or however many variants of these mutations you had, and you could wind up with like 3 arms and 2 heads and all sorts of weird like telepathy and antenna. Like you could just completely turn into a crazy weird. But I liked that. I thought it was really interesting. I don't think it ever got very popular as a game setting though. Like D&D is much more popular. The same thing with Eberron. Like even though our this game is set in Eberron, I think that is one of the reasons that the player base is so small because Eberron in the pen and paper world is not very popular at all. Like it. It's a little too steampunk, I think. Gamma Rotters. Wow, I've never heard of that. Yeah. Pretty cool. When I was in high school, I was in the chess club. But I would imagine now they probably have D&D clubs, right? I'm sure. Okay, team factions against other factions, PvP. A giant Godzilla-like monster. Pretty cool. I do like those old Japanese monster movies. I think they're really cool. Post-apocalyptic, yeah. They used to do something on TV in New England. I don't know if it was the entire country or not, but New England, they used to have something called Creature Double Feature, which was every Saturday afternoon show, like back-to-back monster movies. And a lot of those Japanese monster movies got played during the double feature. I can tell it was the dude in a suit, but it still was pretty cool. No, I'm done with Favor out there. Yeah, didn't Godzilla have his own game? I thought that he had his own board game. Yeah. I did find a toy Godzilla doll that, I mean, it was big. And I think it was from the 80s. Found it at a yard sale. I don't have it because I put it in my eBay store and resold it, but at one point I had it. And it was very cool. Mystic Wood, yeah, deck. It's a card deck like Magic the Gathering. I do have some old Magic the Gathering cards, although I don't think I have any good ones. Never really got into it, but I did buy a couple back when it was sort of newish. So I don't know, maybe I have some good cards or not. I'd have to look. Pretty cool. Yeah, we used to play Dungeon a lot. We played a lot of Dungeon, we played a lot of Risk. Played that awful green things from outer space. Although that particular game, if you know it, is really difficult to win if you are the crew of the ship, because the awful green things just eventually are able to multiply so much that they eat everyone. So, but it's certainly worth, if you like that kind of, if you like board games, it's certainly worth doing a search for it because it's a lot of fun. I think they still make it. Like, I think they still make all these. I know Dungeon, they remake it. Like, you could probably find an original, but I know that they're making new versions of it. And then I think the same thing with the Steve Jackson games. I think all of his Don't know much about the card games though, but I have not seen a Fey Twisted Chest. I've jumped in groups with other people, but I haven't found one myself. Escort the princess to the woods, slay a dragon, find the Holy Grail. Yeah, that's pretty cool. What about the newer games? I have never tried, but people play them, like Settlers of Catan or whatever that's called. Right? Isn't that a game? Something similar to that name. You know, they were really popular like 10 or 15 years ago. Kind of the same thing with Pathfinder. Pathfinder is also very popular. Pathfinder actually has a really cool video game on Steam. If you like it, because it uses the rule. I think it's the 3.0 rules, the D&D 3.0 rules. I played like the first version of Pathfinder, and I think they have a new expansion now. I haven't got that yet on Steam, but it's in my wish list. But pretty cool. Yeah, Pathfinder is 3.5. Yeah, yeah, and the video game does a pretty good recreation of those rules. They have a lot of the newer races though. Like, it's a pretty decent game for Steam. I enjoyed it. It's totally single player, but it's very fun, turn-based, similar to Baldur's Gate kind of. It's interesting. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more turn-based RPGs now, since Baldur's Gate was so successful with the genre. Which is really cool because that means that we may get some of the old RPGs remade. And that's super exciting. And it also means that maybe somebody will decide to make some of the old modules as a turn-based game. Or revisit old games that were already made, like Icewind Dale or the Pool of Radiance, or some of those really old games. There was a game I never played it, but I saw that it existed. It was The Curse of the Azure Bonds, which I actually was able to find that module at like a comic book store, and I loved the narrative of it. You're like a party, and you wake up. There's gloves. Those aren't actually bad. I might actually use those. So you wake up and you've got these like these Azure runes tattooed onto your arm, trying to figure out who put them there, and they're magical and they force you to do things. So thought it was a really neat module idea. Also, like, instantly bonds the group together for like a narrative element of you're all bonded with this stuff, and what does it mean, and who did it to you. Yeah, I thought it was great. So I never got to play the video game, but I did find the module and read through it. It was a long time ago, so I forget now, but that would be really cool for them to remake something like that. Oh, okay. So I am noticing that I just hit the 5 hour mark and I'm starting to feel like I. So I think what I'm going to do is, since there's a bunch of you here and I'm enjoying your company and that stuff, but I've got to take care of my belly, right? So, and I appreciate everybody. Uh, if you have not yet, give me a follow here. It really helps